Hey guys, this is Patrick with Locked Up RC, and I got a quick video for you today. I'm going to assemble one of our TRI 8L beadlock wheels, and this is going to include one of our agile beadlock rings. It's also going to include some scale hex bolts and an RC 4-wheel drive Mickey Thompson Baja Claw tire. Now, not only am I going to show you how to flush cut the screws on the back side of the ring, but I'm going to throw in a couple of other tips, maybe something that'll save you a little bit of money. Now, for the installation, there are a couple of tools that you're going to want that I like to use. The first thing, of course, is a Dremel. You can see I've got one of the thin-cut metal blades on here. I like these because when you break them, they're just really easy to switch out. They're not really a whole lot more expensive, and when you make as many of these as I do, it's definitely worth it. The other thing I've got is a Ryobi cordless drill. Obviously, you can use whatever you want, but on here I have one of our scale hex bolt tools. Now, I put a little dab of Loctite on there just to help hold it on because I'm going to go through a lot of these screws, and that's just something to think about. It's kind of like having really, really weak glue on there. The last thing that you're going to need is a 1.5mm hex tool. Now, I'm using a set of VP Pro tools that we now have in the shop. I highly recommend these. As you can see, they're very, very lightweight, drilled out in the back, and these things are super tough. I've gone through a whole lot of different brands of these tools. These are by far my favorite. Now, the first thing that I like to do in the installation process is to push the little scale hex bolts into the wheel bolt pattern. Now, as you can see here, we've got 8 of them. I've got 8 of these short little screws, and they can be kind of a pain to thread in there by hand, actually. Maybe if you have small fingers this would be easier, but I guess I just don't. So what I like to do is I just put the screw straight into the tool. It's a pretty nice tight fit, and then I just screw it straight into the wheel. Do that for all 8 and you'll be done with that part of the assembly. Now, I've got all 8 of my screws in the wheel bolt pattern, and so the next thing I'm going to move on to is putting the screws into the beadlock ring itself. Now, this is actually kind of the most delicate part of the operation because we have these recessed so that your bolts are protected when they're actually on the truck. These nice long ones are actually pretty easy to thread on here, and if you don't get the nice long ones in your package, that's okay. Don't worry about how long they are because remember, we're going to be cutting these off anyway. Now, you don't want to over torque these because, well, they are a delicate little scale part. So I just kind of try to make them snug. That's about it. You can just go around and do that for all of them. There's going to be 12 of them on these little 1/9 wheels. If you have a torque setting on your cordless drill, you can go ahead and put that on its lowest setting. That'll help you kind of save the heads on the screws. But if not, just remember, be gentle. You don't want to strip it out. They'll stay in there pretty good. You can always use Loctite, or you can use a dab of glue as well. For the next step in the process, we're going to want to add 2 things to our list of required tools. One is just, a nice thick glove. The other is a set of safety glasses. The glasses are obviously so that you don't go blind making your set of RC beadlocks. The glove is because once we flush cut the screws on the back side of this ring, the ring's going to be pretty warm. I've got 2 pieces of wood in my vise. If you don't have anything set up like this, you could just use 2 popsicle sticks and tape them around your vise. The reason that I use the vise and I don't do this by hand is, one, if you're doing it by hand, the Dremel is going to tend to want to run on the screws and you will nick or cut off a chunk of your thumb. 2, when I'm holding the ring by hand, and that's how I started off doing this, I really don't recommend that, the ring actually gets really, really hot. The cutting process produces a lot of heat and our aluminum ring acts as a little radiator. Now, since I've started using this vise, I can do these a whole lot faster, and I'll show you what I mean. That used to take me about 2 minutes to do each one of these, and you can see that's a whole lot faster. So for the last phase of assembly, we need to get the wheel and the tire and the ring onto the wheel. No real surprises here, especially on the back side, so we'll just push that aside. But on the face, we've got these scale hex bolts that we're working with. Now, if you've got a really thick set of foams in there, or a tire that just doesn't mount very easily to the wheel, What I'm going to suggest that you do is use 2 cap head screws. You can put these 2 cap head screws in here. You can torque down on them good and tight, make the ring really snug on there, and pretty much just abuse these. I know back when I had a comp truck and I was running some really thick memory foams, how many M3 screws I probably stripped out. I can't even count. So this way I can torque down on these 2, get the ring right next to the wheel, and then when I come back and I use my scale hex bolts, I don't have to put as much strain on them. They're really just going to go in and kind of just get snugged down just a little bit. And that's pretty much it. So I'll go back all the way around and follow up with the rest of the scale hex bolts, remove the 2 cap screws, obviously once I have the other 4 in, put the rear ring on, and that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please send me an email. If you have any suggestions, please send me an email. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and sign up for our email list so you can get in on some of our discounts. Thanks for watching.